We'll start with the Carbine. So this particular Carbine is made by Zev Technologies, and the model is a core. And what you see in this particular model is a 16-inch barrel. It's a carbon fiber barrel. So with the carbon fiber barrel, it's a little bit lighter. I know not always lighter is better, but for the application to which I'm using it for, I'm a big fan of the carbon fiber barrel. Haven't had any issues with it. Performs well. The gun itself is very well built. Tolerances are tight. I was able to feed multiple different ammunition type through it and no issues. So great all-around gun. What you'll see here is the setup that I personally have is Tech holographic sight, and then backup iron sights made by Magpul. The sling is a Haley strategic sling. The light fixed on it is made by Haley as well, Haley strategic. And Magpul stock, Magpul vertical foregrip. On the gun itself, there's an ambidextrous charging handle, ambidextrous safety selector switch, and the latest version of the bad lever. All right, so this is the setup that I personally have for 3-gun applications. When I'm working with military law enforcement, the only thing you don't see here would be a laser setup for the use of night vision optics. Next, you'll see a semi-automatic shotgun. So this 12-gauge specific shotgun is a Turkish-made shotgun. It's known as the Commando. So the magazine holds 5 2 3/4 or 5 3-inch shells. It's chambered for 2 3/4 or 3-inch. Comes with 5 different chokes, so depending on the distance that you're shooting or the target of choice, you might want to adopt either a tighter choke or a wider spread choke. But again, these are things that we'll go through on a range application depending on what it is that we're trying to train and what aims that we're trying to achieve. All right, so this is the Commando, Turkish-made, 12-gauge, semi-automatic. A couple different pistols here, so we'll start with the M&P. So this is a Gen 1 M&P. Personal favorite for anything concealed carry, this would be my gun of choice. Pretty straightforward. I did put in a Apex trigger, so right now the trigger is sitting at about 3.5 pounds. Real nice trigger break, good reset, big fan of the trigger itself. And then for the sighting system, I swapped out the factory sights for fiber optic sight, and it's a 0.23 diameter front sight, and rear sight is mixture in color. So I do find having a red foresight, front sight, and then either green or blacked out rear sight for target acquisition in relatively quick speeds. I do find that this setup for me personally works well. Some people don't like it, they find it's a little bit busy, but personal choice. Every shooter is going to find what they like and why they like it. The second one, this is a gun that I would use for IPSC competitions or 3-gun competitions, but it's also a great everyday gun. It's made by Zev Technologies, but really it's a hybrid. So the frame itself is a Glock Gen 4. And then the slide is the SOCOM slide made by Zev Technologies. The difference with this particular gun is the co-witness sights in the front and rear in conjunction with the reflex red dot makes it a solid platform in terms of reliability. So in the event that the red dot should fail, you got iron sights that are co-witnessed, and it's a quick access, quick transition from the red dot reflex sight to the iron sight should you need it. Big fan of this gun. Had a few issues with the Delta Point Pro as well. A couple of issues, but Leopold is a great company to work with. Talk to customer service over the phone, try to troubleshoot the first issue, no joy. Sent the dot back to them, and then within weeks I had a brand new one. So that happened twice, and since the second one has been implemented, no issues. So far so good. Also, yeah, one thing to note that's a little bit different from the M&P, for example, is the fluted magwell. Right, so that's the Zev. These are all 9mm. The next one is a Glock 17 Gen 5. So this particular pistol is completely stock. So right out of the box, I've had no issues with it. Again, fired multiple different ammunition types through it. It eats everything, works flawlessly, and Glock has got a great reputation for good reasons. And this particular platform, I'm really happy with. Again, it comes with a factory fluted magwell, which is a nice addition to to speedy reloads. And then the Walther PPQ, 9mm as well. This is a real nice gun straight out of the box. Everything on this gun is completely stock. I really like the trigger brake on this particular stock trigger. I really like the accented magazine release button. It is a little bit more elevated, so it's a great purchase when you're trying to reload quickly. Some of the drawbacks I would say with this particular gun is, and I didn't know it at the time, I later found out afterwards, that the guide rod that's built into the gun, the one that it comes with, it's not a tungsten or a harder structure. So I've had no issues with it. The gun's relatively new, but it's something that I'll look at swapping out for an aftermarket upgrade, either a tungsten guide rod or something that's a little bit stronger built. As well as the sights, the iron sights. I'm not a huge fan of. I'm looking at swapping those out for either Dawson Precision or something of that nature.